Ay. Otra vez. Come here. Let me say something. I remember Tampa, the way she used to be, the places we would run to, the faces we would see. Yes, I remember Tampa, those precious memories, a city rising on the move, a simple yet progressive groove. I remember Tampa, and she remembers me. Yeah. She remembers me.
Welcome to the Tampa Native Show. Stay tuned now for the fastest 60 minutes in cable broadcast history. Live from the studios at TBCN, the home of the Tampa Native Show. Join your hosts, Mario Nunez, the 15-Minute Girl, and Steve Canella, as they celebrate growing up in Tampa. From Shock Armstrong to Shakey's Pizza, from Braddock Street to Buffalo Avenue. Get ready to call in and tell us your stories, because sharing your memories has never been this much fun. And now, Mario Nunez, the 15-Minute Girl, and Steve Canella.
She remembers me.
Hi, Tampa Native Show fans. Welcome back to this, the 13th season. Stevie, I'm going to ring that bell right off the top.
That's a bell ringer.
13 seasons worth of the Tampa Native Show.
In 4 years.
It's a lucky number for
Pretty
us.
good stuff. As always, seated alongside my broadcast partners, Tampa Steve and the 15-Minute Girl. That's Steve Canella and Sally Nunez, for those of you keeping score at home. My name is Mario Nunez, and we'd like to welcome you back to our live presentation. You know, Stevie, it's always good to have that off week, because, you know, we get a chance to regroup,
nice.
Recharge,
and do some things that we need to do. And but man, there's nothing like being in front of the live audience again with that red light on that camera. Isn't it scary?
You know,
Sometimes
it is.
it is.
No, it's not scary.
I couldn't wait to come back though. I really couldn't.
It's great to be back with you guys. And for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. Welcome to our show. We're here every Thursday night. We know that there are some folks out in Oregon watching currently.
Right.
It's only 4 o'clock in the afternoon there. I don't know how they're getting off of work to watch the show, but thank goodness you're with us as well. Very special guest in the studio tonight. Sandy Ficca will be joining us in just a little bit to talk all about Firefall and his growing up here in Tampa and stuff that we haven't learned yet about Sandy Ficca that tonight you're going to get an opportunity to learn. Stevie, how was your week off, man?
You know, it was great. In fact, I hope everyone enjoyed the compilation video we did last week for the replacement for last week's show.
It was very good.
It was great.
And Steve says he hopes that everybody enjoyed the compilation video that we put together. No, that was Steve's doing. So if you liked it, it was Steve's doing. And if you didn't like it, it was Steve's doing. What's not to like? It came out terrific, and it was really good.
That was great.
And you know, we've left that show here archived with TBCN, so they're going to be playing that into their regular program.
That's true.
So it can be on at all times, and of course, it's always available on our website.
Right.
Yep. That's tampanativeshow.com. So stay with us now, but you can visit that website after the show. Hey, guys, we've got a couple of announcements to make right up at the top. Tonight's show is going to be pretty good.
We've got a lot going on, don't we?
We got a lot going on. Well, that's what happens when you take a week off.
We have to catch
you
up
go away,
now.
you come back, you got to make up time. All right, let's talk a little bit about Stevie. Let's go to our graphics department. Oh, here we go. Tampa Native, and somebody that Sandy Ficca knows, I'm sure we'll talk to him about it in just a couple of minutes, Chet Yoakum.
Yes.
Yoakum if you got him. Chet Yoakum is over there in the UK currently.
Yes, he is.
And fulfilling his bucket list.
Yeah.
For those of you that know what a bucket list might be. He checked off one of those items here recently, and he sent us photographic evidence of just what's taking place over there in London. We'd like to go to the video now, go to the photograph now.
There it is.
Check it out.
Look at that.
That's Chet Yoakum. That's Tampa's very own Chet Yoakum, who's
And his
over
wife Diane.
and his wife Diane, thank you, darling, in London.
Yeah.
Experiencing all things Beatles
Abbey Road.
and all things Abbey Road. And
all
Chet is
things
such a
Tampa.
representative that he signed the Tampa Natives. I don't know where that is. I don't know what that is. It looks to me like it might be on a gate.
I was looking at it earlier.
Wrought iron.
Like a sheet hung
It looks,
over it.
it looks, yes. Sandy wants to get in and tell us what that is, but he hasn't been introduced yet to the audience. But thank you, Sandy. We'll let you talk about that in just a second. No, absolutely. That's, I know what that is. That's the gate, the post, you know, that the wrought iron is put.
Yeah.
But look at, how about that?
That's
And one more
amazing.
That's
picture.
amazing.
Thank you so much, Chet. And look at this.
Look at this.
Look at our
My
man,
favorite.
Chet.
I love his hat.
That's the fifth Beatle, right?
Recreating.
He's a little bit
Yeah.
late for the photo.
He is. He is. He's trying to get across there. And you know, the thing is, you've got to actually be quick about it because
Yeah.
that Abbey Road is an actual thoroughfare. So, you know, you've got to kind of look both ways and then get across. And in London, for those of you that have not been there in a while, you got to look the opposite way that you look here. It's counterintuitive. Here we look to our left because the traffic is coming at us from that side. Over there, Papa, you better look to your right before you step out into traffic because they
know
drive
it.
on the opposite side of the road.
You know
We all
it.
know that.
Great picture.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
Chet Yoakum,
That's great.
for
We owe
sending
you
that
one for
photograph
that
to
one.
us. And Diane, we know you're having a ball, and they went to
much
see the
fun.
Beatles show there in the
Yeah.
West End, you know, the live Broadway production. So
What a great
when you
photo.
get back, we want to hear all about it, Chet. Thank you
do.
so much for sending those photographs. Picture number, I guess the next picture in the sequence of pictures, we got to promote WMNF's.
That's right.
Heat Wave,
we do.
their major fundraiser of the year.
Big event.
May the 9th and 10th, is that correct, Stevie?
I believe it is.
May the 9th and
correct.
10th. Friday and Saturday, make your plans to be there. Get your tickets early, get them in advance, save yourself a little bit of money. And of course, we'll be there as well. Tropical Heat Wave, always a good time. And it gets bigger and better every year.
Every time.
Every year. Yep.
And let's look what we have next. We
Next,
have,
and that's coming
this
right
is,
up.
This is
This
amazing.
is 3 days
This is,
away.
yeah, it's gonna be
This
Sunday.
is 3 days away. This is
yeah.
Festa
Festa
Italiana,
Italiana.
right there in Centennial Park in Ybor City.
We're going to be there with a
They're
tent.
probably getting ready
Yeah.
because I think the event started today.
Right.
Tomorrow they have a winemaking competition.
Well, that's tonight, I think. Tomorrow night is another event, and then
And
Saturday
then Saturday's a
bocce
bocce ball.
Bocce
Saturday's
ball,
bocce ball, and then Sunday is the actual Festa.
which will be there Sunday.
So 4 days worth of all things Sicilian, all things Italian, all things Ybor
Italiana.
City. If you're in town, be sure to get out there and see that. I think the weather's going to hold up, so we're going to have a good time there. And look for your Tampa Natives hosts, which will be there as well on
Be
Sunday.
under the tent.
That's right. Stop by and
Great
visit us.
tent.
On the corner, Stevie, do we know it's going to be?
You know, not 100% sure, but I think it's close to the entrance, really.
Okay, so we're
Maybe a block
thinking, we were
away.
told we're going to be somewhere around 8th Avenue and 18th Street.
Right.
8th Avenue and 18th Street.
spot,
Look for
actually.
somewhere standing under a tent on that corner.
With Tampa Native shirts.
We got new business cards coming up. And Stevie, I'm going to ask you to hold
yeah.
up, if you will.
Let's do that.
We've got some new business cards that we've got. And this is really neat
This is
because
a big
this is a
business card,
poster.
too.
Yep,
It is
this
a big business card.
It's a big business card. So you had a big wallet, big display case to put that in your pocket. But this is what the business cards are going to look like. This one is actually for our sponsors. So if you're currently a sponsor out there of the Tampa Native Show, we're going to be visiting you very soon. And you're going to be able to display this in your windows there at the restaurants, at your stores, and let everybody know that you are a proud
I love the retro
sponsor
TV.
of the Tampa
Yep.
Native Show. And we're on TV, of course. And that's a wonderful photograph that was taken, darling. Remember where that photograph was taken?
Pepito's.
Pepito's Masterpiece.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Masterpiece Photography Studio, right there in the heart of South Tampa.
couple years
so
ago, 3 years
on the
ago.
lookout, and ladies and gentlemen, if you happen to be walking down 7th Avenue or anywhere in Tampa and you see that poster in the window, do us a favor. Walk in there, buy whatever they're selling, and thank them for being a sponsor of the Tampa Native Show because that's what enables us to stay on the air. So
So true.
thank you so
So
much.
very
A lot
true.
of love there. All right. Something that let me set this up for you. Something that I've been working on here for a hot minute. And I'm super, don't bring it up yet back until we call for it. This is good. I got to set this up.
Surprise.
Something that I've been very, very
Emotional.
excited, yes, and excited to present to our Tampa Natives familia. Okay. About 8 weeks ago, I made a call to minor league baseball in St. Petersburg. I called the offices of minor league baseball. I asked them, I said, listen, is there any way that we might be able to work out a deal? And this is what we do, and this is who we are, and this is an emotional thing. And could you see it in your heart to allow us to use? Because they've got the contract for this. You know, they bought the rights, the copyrights to this logo, which I'm about to show you. Now, who among us that grew up here in Tampa does not remember the Tampa Tarpons? Does not remember those sultry summer nights that we spent with our uncles, with our fathers, with our willows, watching the Tampa Tarpons play? Man, Pete Rose got to start right here. Johnny Bench got to
Bench.
start right here. Okay? The 15-minute girl, our very own, saw that logo one morning, and she said, you know what, honey? I don't believe she used that
No,
term.
I never said
I'm using it now. You know what? I think we might be able to do something with this. So, that said, permission granted from minor league baseball. We took that logo, that iconic logo that conjures up wonderful images of early Tampa, and we've got some T-shirts made. And the T-shirts are going to look just like this. Oh my! Oh my, that's a bell ring right there. Now, we've only made, the first batch is already printed. We were going to have them here tonight, but we decided, you know what, we're just going to wait. We're just going to wait and bust them out at one time. But that's what it's going to look like.
That's sharp. That really is sharp.
Huh? Who doesn't want that? You know, we only have 50 of them. Actually, we have 47 because the first 3 are here for the first 3 went to the host of the Tampa Native show. And we only made large and extra large in this first batch. That doesn't mean that for, you know, those that need the 2 and the 3X or whatever, we're going to have those for you as well. But we want to hear from you because we just don't want to order those sizes without knowing exactly how many we need. Because typically they cost a little bit more. Don't worry about that. We'll deal with that at some point. However, all right now, when we get out of here, we're going to go straight home. Stevie's going to activate the website. Right, Steve?
Absolutely.
If you'd like yours, get in early. If you want some of these first batch, get in early. Large and extra large. $25 donation to help us stay on the air, to help fund our efforts here at the Tampa Native Show. We'll get that shirt to you. If we've got to mail it to you, it's $30 because we've got to cover the shipping and handling. If we meet you somewhere and we sell it to you on the street, at a restaurant,
just a cup of coffee.
$25 and you got to buy us a cup of coffee. All right, that's a beautiful shirt. And it's with pride and love in my heart that I bring you that shirt because we think it's going to be hot. And did you notice, guys? Rays colors.
That's perfect.
So when you go to the Rays games, wear that shirt. Tampa Native, Tampa Pride.
No, it's a beautiful job on that, by the way. Fantastic.
Thank you. We got lucky. We got lucky. Well, and you know, 15-minute girl came up with the idea.
Yeah, well, both of you.
I tried to steal it from her, man. She would have none of that. All right, let's get to our guest because he's been patiently waiting for us here just off camera.
He sure has.
We want to set this up for you a little bit. Most of us who are plus minus our age here on the panel, certainly, remember Firefall. They burst on the scene in 1976, played all over the country, and tremendous hits. I mean, to this day, when you hear them, you instantly know them and you remember the lyrics.
You go back in time.
And if you've forgotten,
you do.
Stand by, because we're going to show you a little video clip now, about a minute long, to remind you. When we come back on the other side of that, Sandy will be sitting with us and will introduce you to the drummer, current drummer, and boy, is he a good one, Sandy Ficca, Tampa's own. Enjoy this. This is Firefall.
You are the woman that I've always dreamed of. I knew it from the start. I saw your face and that's the last I've seen of my heart. It's a strange way to tell me you love me when your sorrow is all I can see. If you just want to cry to somebody, don't cry to me. No, don't cry to me. Just remember I love you and it'll be alright. Just remember I love you more than I can say. Cinderella, can't you see? Don't want your company. You better leave this morning, leave today. Take your love and your child away. Goodbye, love. Goodbye, love. Goodbye, love. Goodbye, love. Goodbye, love. Living is easy with someone who cares, someone to call you their own. Living is lovely with somebody there. Living ain't living alone. Mexico.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about that?
That was amazing.
How many of us were sitting there tapping our toes and tapping our fingers to those songs?
We were singing along.
Well, without further ado, our guest, esteemed guest in studio with us tonight, Sandy Ficca. Here he is.
Good to see you.
All the way from Oregon.
Welcome.
All the way from Oregon.
I'm as far away as you can get.
You're
right. Continental U.S.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. But we're so happy that you're here with us, man. We've been trying to get you in studio for a little bit now.
Yeah, it's been a while, but finally we were able to make it work.
Here we are. Now, we know that you played recently here in town. Let's review that show a little bit. Tell us how it went, man. Good turnout?
Well, we thought there was going to be, a couple thousand people.
Yes, the weather was an
issue. But the weather was an issue, so they moved it into the Capitol Theater.
Okay.
which was about 700, 750, but it was great. It was packed out.
SRO, huh?
Yep, and we had a really, really good night, very responsive crowd. Every time we play over there, it's just, it's
People
great.
love you.
Yeah.
Well, David's from around here.
David Muse is from Clearwater.
There you
Rick
go.
Roberts.
Yes?
Also, well, I think they both went to Dunedin High School.
Okay.
So there's a lot of Tampa Bay, roots
Yes,
in
sir.
the band.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. A lot of connection with you. And of course, we'll talk about Joe in just a little bit.
Yeah.
Joe Lala, which if he was able to, he was with you that night,
yeah.
but he wasn't standing behind his congas. But if he was healthy and he was there, he would have been there that night.
And he would be here right now.
And he would be here right
That's
now.
right.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct with us. But listen, we know because we've seen you perform and we talked about it today. And you just mentioned it a moment ago. Like the show that you said you did when you played with Three Dog Night. I mean, Three Dog Night, their playlist is impressive. And we know this. And we know that Firefalls is as well. What's that like when you're at a concert, man? When
Yes.
every song gets that kind of a response from
Right.
the audience, you feel it behind your drums.
Oh,
Everybody know,
absolutely.
they're on their
Absolutely.
feet moving in the audience.
Yeah, and that fuels the band, and
Sure.
it's always a much better show if the crowd is there.
Into the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
And you had so many hits, and that period of
Yeah.
time was, everybody knows those songs.
Yes.
You don't go see Firefall and go, who are these guys?
No.
You go to see Firefall to be reminded of when
reminisce.
you had hair, when you were young, when you were, not you, Sandy, not you.
No,
Not you.
I was all that. I was young at one time. I had hair. And I was about 100 pounds lighter.
I know, baby. And well, let's talk about Sandy in the early days, man, because, we got some photographs. We'll get to that in a minute. But set the stage for some of our viewers that may not know you, maybe meeting you for the first time. Talk about where you were born. Talk about when you got to Tampa. Talk about your family history.
Well, my family history basically started in Tampa because my father was from here.
Okay.
And he grew up in Ybor City. Used to take and deliver Cuban bread, to the door, the little nail on the doors.
Oh, wow.
And he joined the Army. Was stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Met my mother. And then along came me. So I was born in North Carolina. We traveled all over the world. We lived in France. We lived in Germany. And then we came back. And when my dad retired, we moved to Tampa.
Those roots were strong, man.
Yeah,
The pull
returned
was
to his
strong.
home. And that's where the trouble began. I remember the first day of school at Robinson. I spent a short time at King High School because I
Okay.
was living with my uncle. And then I went to Robinson when my dad got our house. And first day, the football coach
Oh,
looks at my name. You're Ficca. Okay, are you related to Larry,
Yeah.
Tony, and Phil? And I'm like, yeah, they're
Oh,
my
boy.
cousins. It's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, boy.
yeah.
you better be careful. So my cousins preceded me, and but it was great, and we're super close.
Yeah.
We were all together last night.
Big family.
Yeah, big family. And so I got my first music stuff started here in Tampa, my first real band. And
Always with the drums, Sandy?
always with the drums.
Felt comfortable. Felt really comfortable banging
Ever-
your mom's pots and pans early on.
Ever
huh?
since the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
it.
Oh,
I
Ringo,
saw,
man.
I saw Ringo, and I was
Ringo.
like, man, that guy's having so much fun,
Yeah.
and that's what I want to do.
There you go.
What
It's,
age were you at the time when you started your band?
I actually got started in junior high in North Carolina because my mom, I remember distinctly in first grade in North Carolina going to the band room, and I went straight to the drums.
Drums.
And my father refused to let me be a drummer because he played
much noise in the house,
saxophone.
man.
I know.
Too much noise in the house.
So I was just as stubborn as my dad. So I was like, well, if I can't play drums, I'm not playing anything. So fast forward to junior high, which is quite a ways, and my mom went behind my dad's back and got me a drum set.
Oh, good old mom.
Moms.
And I was in a band the next day.
Save the day.
Wow.
If you had a drum set, you were in a band. It didn't matter if you could play.
Right. They needed somebody to keep time.
Yeah.
In
Somebody had to
fact,
keep time.
I'll tell you a real quick story if I have time.
We got time.
In Firefall, legend has it that Michael Clark, who was the original drummer in Firefall, was playing, like beating on a log in L.A. somewhere, in some park, probably stoned out of his mind or whatever. But anyway, this guy comes walking by and starts talking to him and says, "Hey, are you a drummer?" And Michael goes, "Yeah, I played with, oh man, I can't remember. Oh, Junior Walker and the
All-Stars."
And he's lying out his teeth. And the guy says, "Well, we're putting a band together and we need a drummer." And it was David Crosby, and the band was the Byrds.
Oh my goodness.
So Michael got
Yes, I
his-
play the drums. Yes, yes, I play the drums all the time.
That's
Play 'em
fate.
now.
That's fate right there.
Yeah,
That's a
and
great
so he wasn't
story.
really much of a drummer, but he learned, and he was a real strong 2-and-4 kind of guy.
Yeah.
And then so he went from the Byrds to the Flying Burrito Brothers, and Rick Roberts enters the picture at that point. And then when Rick put Firefall together with Jock, and they brought Michael in, so this guy had quite a career, you know, without ever really being a drummer.
Amazing.
But back then, like I said, you had a drum set, you were
Yeah.
hired.
Yes.
Because not many kids had a drum set.
Correct.
And mine was Ludwig. Blue
wow.
Sparkle. I started
Top
at
of
the
the
top.
line.
Right there,
Yeah.
right there.
Only 3 drums, but I started
That's all you
at the
needed.
top.
Snare,
remember-
bass, tom-tom.
I remember seeing those in the Paragon Music Center on Hillsborough Avenue. Ludwig, that was a big brand, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm still a huge Ludwig fan. I've strayed it from them a couple times, but I still have I've got a 1969 Ringo Black Oyster Pearl Ludwig kit at home.
So
in
drummers are
boxes.
really no
Nice.
different than guitar players because they collect guitars, you guys collect drums. The only difference is it obviously takes more room because the
Right.
drum set takes up more room.
And it
Exactly.
grows.
But you know, I've always fancied myself a little bit of a. I'm banging on stuff all the time myself and keeping time with my hands. For about 15 minutes, literally, I had a drum set in the house, in about a 900 square foot house with other people. That lasted for 15 minutes. Then it was like, this is way too much noise. Sorry. I hasten to say that if the electronic drum kit was available, the technology had been available today where you can
That's true.
headset, play music all day long, and all the people are going to hear is thump, 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 thump.
To me, that's as annoying as the real
As the drums.
sound. Yeah.
But I mean, it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can put your parents off, man. Look, I'm going to be in the back just doing the thump thump
Right.
rather than, you know, that ain't going to happen.
Did you play
Anyway.
in the house or did you play in the garage?
I played, well, we had a carport,
Okay.
which was not closed in
Right.
in the beginning. We had it closed
The
in.
whole neighborhood must have known who Sandy Ficca was.
But my room was so tiny that my bed, the end of my bed, I had my drum set set up against the wall at the foot of my bed, and I had to sit on my bed to play them. But
no room.
I had to pick my times,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
when I played.
Yeah.
Like when I'd skip school and go home all day and practice.
Man, you're letting all those secrets out now, Sandy. You're letting them
What's
all out now.
I'm just telling it like it was.
What street did you live on in South?
We lived on Bay Vista,
Oh, okay.
off of Manhattan.
Yes, I was off of Manhattan, kind of between. I was in Fair Oaks, Manhattan Manor. I was on South Cameron between.
We weren't cool enough to have a name to our neighborhood.
Well, I didn't even know this until much later, you know,
Right.
because I was like 4, I think. We moved here from Atlanta, so.
Yeah, we drove by there the other day, and it was funny because when we were living there, the boys' club was there, and my brother was commenting about now it's the boys and girls' club.
Oh yes, I
yes.
remember that.
The girls are taking
Yes,
over.
Yes. And it used to be that. It used to be the Boys Club
Yep.
and the Girls
Right.
Club. And the YMCA and the YWCA.
Yeah.
And when you looked at your old house again, it looked tiny, didn't it?
You know what? It looked way better than
Did-
when
did it-
some,
did- maybe
somebody's
they added on
done
to it,
some
maybe.
things
There you
to
go.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
I was impressed.
I remember that too. You know, I've mentioned this on the show before. I had a cousin that played a little bit with the Dennis Yost in the Classics 4, okay? Chris DeMarco. And I remember going to Chris's house when I was little. Chris was older, about 14 years older. And I remember going to his house and the same thing, man. I'm wondering, first of all, how'd they get the drum set in the room? Because it was the bed, the dresser, and the drum set. And it took up everything. So, you know, you had to kind of roll out of bed and be real
Work it
careful.
out.
And if you rolled in the middle of the night and your arm swung off the bed, you hit the cymbal. You know what I mean? It was that.
Yeah.
But
Wake
that's
everybody
what
up.
it took.
Yep.
And
I have a feeling that Neil Peart from Rush, his parents must have been rich.
yeah.
And he had a huge room because he plays like 97 drums.
What is all that about? Because you have the little toms, the big toms. You have a little cymbal. You have a big cymbal. The whole
Well, you know,
How much does something like that cost? Let's talk serious for a minute.
it
Thousands?
can be ridiculous. Yeah.
Tens of hundreds.
Yeah,
maybe?
$10,000-$15,000 for something like that.
Which you don't really need all that much. That's just
No.
that's a show. That's show. Love
Right.
a show. So you graduated from Robinson High School?
Robinson.
High
Well,
School?
almost graduated.
Okay, all right.
I was supposed to go back for one class, for
Oh,
one
wow.
semester. And before that happened, I had gone to North Carolina to visit relatives. And I ended up getting a gig with the Drifters.
There you go. Now we're going to talk about the Drifters here in just a second. We've got a caller that's been waiting forever and ever. We probably should take his call just a second. Safe to say, when you were going to go back and finish, take that last class, you took your drumsticks, you put them in this back pocket, you took a Baby Ruth bar, you put it in this back pocket, you said, look man, I got to go do some stuff over here, so I'll get that class later. And away you went.
Right.
And you never looked back.
Never looked back.
And for those of us that have seen you play, we're thankful for that, man. Because
Absolutely.
you know, you do a job back there, and Firefall would not be the same without your sensibilities back there behind there. You know, I mean, everybody plays their part.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we heard the music earlier, but I've been in the studio. We've
We
been in the
went, yeah,
studio
a couple years ago.
and you know, brother, you beat those skins pretty seriously. I'm just going to put it out there. Just
That's what they're made to do.
I know it, but you know, there are some guys that are more, you know.
Finesseful,
Yeah, jazz, and you know they got jazz hands. Jazz hands. Bob
That's not
Fosse
me.
jazz hands. But no, you heavy-handed, bro.
I'm a rock boy.
Yeah, you're yes.
With a
yes.
funk bottom.
Why not, right?
Yeah.
And listen, man. Come on, funk. But you had me at hello when you said funk bottom. All right. Let's go to the caller on 4, and then we're going to take more of your calls in just a minute. Caller, you're on the air with the Tampa Native Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Caller?
Caller, did we lose you?
Is your phone on mute?
Oh. Caller.
Did we lose him?
You know what? He may have gotten tired. I know who it was because little birdie told us in our earpiece.
Okay.
Caller?
Call back.
Well, Jim Carney does have Belita number 39, by the way.
Jim Carney was on the phone waiting for us, and he must have stepped away from his phone for a minute to, you know, go get something from the refrigerator or possibly a little bathroom break. And we lost him. So, Jim, call back.
Yep.
I know you got a question for Sandy. Call back.
He's a big music
and
guy.
Jim's a big music
Oh, he
fan.
is. He is.
So, all right, let's give the number out now, and just in case, and we'll keep talking with Sandy while we load the phone lines. 813-977-6800. Stevie, give it to him again.
That's 813-977-6800.
And baby, you give it to him too.
813-977-6800.
Let's go around the table. Sandy, give it to him.
813-977-6800.
There it
Call
is.
me now.
Right.
Call him now. Operators are
Yep,
standing by.
exactly.
All right, so you joined the group. We know the group was formed around 76,
It's actually formed about 74.
74. They
Yeah.
made their breakout album, the breakout.
Was recorded in the winter of 75 and came out in 76.
Great time for music.
Which they recorded at Criteria in Miami.
Okay.
And they actually got the deal because Chris Hillman was playing at the Bottom Line in New York City, and he got sick or something, and I think Jock was playing in his band and brought Firefall out to do the show at the Bottom Line, and the people from Atlantic were there.
And they loved it.
And
Perfect.
You know, sometimes it's serendipitous.
It is.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Timing,
Sometimes
everything.
it's just, you know, I mean, we've said that forever. And but.
It happens with us,
Can
too.
you do that?
Sometimes.
Can you do an and but?
Sometimes why?
And but. That's harder and harder to come by now, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the marketplace is somewhat flooded, and it seems like you have to be less reliant upon musical skill and acumen and ability, and just be bizarre. You got to have an act now,
Right.
You know, then and nothing more. I guess nothing more of an example than you watch. Even Saturday Night Live. When we were watching Saturday Night Live in the 70s, man, you had your Three Dog Nights, man. You had your Johnny Winners. You had, you know, those were the groups that played. Now the groups that are playing are like,
Sometimes we don't even know
What's
who they
that?
are.
yeah.
is that music? What is that going? you
Yeah,
know?
it's really
so
different.
it's become less music and more theater
Yeah.
Right.
of the absurd. I
There
guess.
are still some really good young
Sure.
bands out there.
Yeah.
I don't like this guy Bruno Mars. How about you? I don't like him at all.
I love that guy.
Oh, he's fantastic.
I got him. And get him in the boat.
And he didn't shake me at all.
Not at all, man.
Didn't
No, he is amazing. He's
Yeah.
an amazing talent.
He is I think he's the best artist out there right
There
now.
you go. There you go.
And I saw
He
him.
does it all.
Yes, he does.
But I saw him do this video from the Amy Winehouse tribute
Sad day.
concert
Lost her.
when he did. I can't remember the song now. Anyway, Valerie.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was just like, oh man, this
really
guy
good.
is so good.
There's
Talented.
Yeah, he's one of my
talented.
favorites.
there's a lot of heart there,
Of the
man,
new
and a
ones.
lot of soul.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, you know, and the talent.
Right.
His brother's a drummer in the band. He plays the drums himself. Remember the
Right.
halftime show of the
Yep.
Super Bowl? He came out playing the drums, and of course he plays the guitar and he sings and he
Yep.
dances.
Does it all.
Combination of there's a little Prince there, there's a little Michael Jackson there. You know, all these influences pulled together, and then in a new unit in time
That's
and
great.
with new energy. So we got a caller back on the line. All right, let's see what happened to our friend Jim Carney. Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name, which I've just done that. Jim Carney, and tell us why you weren't there earlier.
And Bud.
And butt. See, he's giving me my and butt back. Hey, Jim.
And Bud, my mother called.
Okay. And when mothers call,
You have to answer.
Muy importante.
muy importante, brothers. Say hello to Sandy Ficca and tell us what you think.
Steve,
Yes.
Sandy, pardon me, I'm right on top of you like gravy on rice in a minute. But I told Steve I'd set him up, so when you're through, Steve's gonna promote the Italian festival, the Festa Italiana.
Okay.
To more cities in Italy than most Americans have even heard of.
There you go.
That's true.
And so I wanna help you promote. Va bene?
You
Yes.
know what? I got your logo today as well, so I'll get with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's great.
We've got
That's
your
great.
Bolita number. Did you have a question for Sandy?
Yeah, you got my Bolita number already.
39.
Okay, now, and we'll get back to that T-shirts too. Sandy,
Yes, sir.
what? Okay, wait, let me do the introduction you did. Okay.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, dudes, dudettes, and their progeny, tonight, one night only, appearing here in Portland, Oregon, is the band who Firefall should have been opening for Three Dog Night, but tonight only you get to hear the band that should have opened that night and on that tour, Firefall.
There it is.
Get on your feet.
Nice. We would get on our
That's
feet, but
good.
we're strapped into
We
the
are.
cockpit, man. I got wires running all over. We
Wouldn't be
can't even
ready,
stand
yeah.
up.
I wish I was playing in Portland. I'd be closer to home.
Yeah.
Sandy,
Yes.
my man, okay, the drummer should have been mixed up higher in those mixes, those Firefall mixes. You can always tell a good band by its drummer. Is that true or not true?
I think you're absolutely true.
Hard pressed to ask the drummer a drummer question like that, man. That was a super softball.
We're going to talk drummer stuff for a minute. And,
Okay.
Okay, now, Sandy, what's your best drummer joke that you know?
There we go.
Ooh. Okay.
That you can tell on a G-rated show.
All right.
Oh, you can tell them because nobody understands them because they're drummer
The
jokes.
drummer jokes.
I've heard them all, but this is
okay.
my favorite.
Now, my best one that I've heard, I heard one from the Allman Brothers drummer, but I couldn't understand it, and I thought it was kind of mean-spirited.
Sandy's got one for you, Jim. Hang on. Sandy's got one for you.
I want to hear his first.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Mine's mean-spirited
Okay,
too.
well, no, not the mean-spirited. I'm going to do the one that I like the best.
Okay.
So many drummers, so little time.
There you go. So many drummers, so little time. Now
That's deep.
That is deep. That's
A drummer joke.
that's sort of like Jack Handy. You know, it's deep thoughts.
It's dissing Gene Krupa, but you put the a-hole up in the back, not in the front.
Gene Krupa or Buddy Rich? Go ahead.
Okay, now that's the Allman Brothers drummer talking about trying to diss Gene Krupa, but he doesn't use his name.
Yeah, Buddy Rich was pretty good too. Okay, Sandy, your joke.
Putting the a-hole, the a blank blank hole in the front rather than the back.
I think we got it.
Jim, stand by. Sandy, Joe.
Okay. What do Ginger Baker and 7-Eleven coffee have in common?
They're both wheat.
Ginger Baker, Curtis Hickson with the band Salt and Peppa. Do you
You
remember
get
that
the
band?
joke?
They're both wheat.
No. They both suck without cream.
Nice. Ding, ding, dong. Oh, yeah, Mr. Carney, we've got another call coming in. I got to let you go, but listen, we got your bolita number.
Talk about the Festival Italiana and
I'll be there.
Eddie, gotta love the drummers.
Yeah, of course, of course. Especially this one, man, because he's homegrown.
So true.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Grazie.
Bye-bye.
Grazie.
Grazie, grazie.
Grazie.
That's Paco Malo, man, our very own Jim Carney. 813-977. We've got one line open. 813-977-6800. We've got a video that we're going to show you in just a couple of minutes. We don't want to not show you this video because it's very, very good and great and amazing. And it also, and I'll let Sandy speak to this in just a minute because I know that he had a very special relationship with Joe Lala, whom we just lost here recently. And you know, it's almost inconceivable still to think about that, Sandy, and to talk about it because you know, it just goes to show you, man, how precious our time together is, and what it's taught this Tampa Native show host is, man, don't be derelict and don't delay. And if there's something that you need to do or say or want to do, get it done, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Because then there are times when you go, what? He's gone, and then you don't get a second bite at that apple.
Right.
So you want to go ahead and show the video now? I think it would be a
it's a
great
good
time
time.
to do it.
The song, right?
Because it's a
And
6-minute
then-
video, and 6 minutes is a nice little respite here, a nice little break for us. But at the same time, it gives you a chance to settle in and watch this. And I think this is a good time to do it too. Most everybody's watching us now at home. Sandy, set it up for us.
This video, first of all, when I was going to high school in Tampa, Blues Image was huge. They were like the local heroes. And Joe Lala, of course, was part of that. And he played on all of the early Firefall records. And I didn't know Joe back then. But I got to meet him through Firefall. And we had an instant connection. We were both Italian, and we were both from Tampa. And you couldn't shut us up. We were just, you know. And Joe was just one of the most lovable, funny guys ever. And I was really honored and happy that I got to play with him on stage. And in 2009, I think it was, Firefall did a reunion show in Boulder, at the Boulder Theater. The thing that set that show apart was, from most reunion shows, is that like lots of other bands, there were lots of member changes. We brought everybody back.
Oh, nice.
We had the original band on stage and the new band. Sometimes we had 2 bass players playing. Sometimes we had like 5 guitars. I don't know. It was crazy, but it was just a magical night, and it just wouldn't have been right to do it without flying Joe in. So we flew Joe in to do the show. We had a couple days of rehearsals, so it was just nonstop, cracking everybody up, and yeah, it was definitely one of the highlights of my career.
That's
besides playing with Edgar Winter cowbell on Frankenstein.
Oh my
Hello.
goodness.
Hello.
That's pretty good.
So anyway, we filmed this the show, and we were going to put a DV out right away, and there was some legal stuff going on, which never happens in this business. But we are going to put out the whole thing.
Oh,
and
nice.
so I have this 3-song sampler, and I thought this was the most appropriate thing I could do was to bring this and share it with everybody in Tampa.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Great.
Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
You know,
Thank you
you
so
told
much.
us when you talked to us in pre-production, when we talked to you earlier, that this not only does this particular song highlight Joe, you can see a lot of him because he's always standing in the back, just like Sandy's behind everybody else. But a lot of the camera angles, you'll get to see Joe playing a lot, and sort of you'll get to hear him as well, which is great. And then, of course, the song is appropriately enough, "Goodbye, I Love You,"
Yeah.
which you know, touches us all, very poignant. So, for the next 6.5 minutes, sit back, relax, enjoy this wonderful rendition on a magical night, as Sandy has said, 2009, when the band, you know, we got the band all back together again. And Joe Lala is featured prominently in this particular song. So from the Tampa Native show with a lot of love, this is sort of our little tribute to Joe tonight. Enjoy.
All right, we'd like to do a song for you called Goodbye, I Love You. Hope you enjoy it.
It's not that way. Maybe I love you more than you know. Maybe you'll know
Can you beat this? I'm as nervous as Paris Hilton at a spelling bee.
I'm ready to have a good time all the time, but especially tonight. These are my old buddies, and it's a real pleasure to be back with them.
This is a wonderful night, celebration, a big celebration of beautiful songs, wonderful group, wonderful time of my life.
It is cuckoo, cockeyed, and crazy out there.
Crazy.
Rock and roll.
Kill the sound in the booth there. Thank you so much. Bring that all the way down. We appreciate it. Listen, that was magical. That was absolutely magical.
Sure was.
And that's one of those songs too that just kind of it hits you right there. You want to get somebody close to you, grab them, and tell them you love them, and that's what that's all about. And how about that drummer? And how about that conga player, huh?
Yeah.
And speaking of that drummer, he's right here, Sandy.
Amazing.
You told us a story before we came on tonight, man, that you have to repeat.
Okay.
Because, again, music and sometimes in sports and sometimes in theater and sometimes even in business, it can be serendipitous. You know what I mean? Sometimes, the old saying, it's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah.
Talent takes you a long ways, but sometimes you just happen to be in the right place, man, at the right time. Drifters. Let's talk about that story.
Well, in fact, it was not long after I moved from Tampa. And I wasn't even moving. I was just going to North Carolina to visit some relatives, and I ended up getting a gig, a full-time gig.
You was a musician, man.
I was a musician then. And I was like, okay, so my dad sent my drums up, and I started playing with this little kind of a lounge band at all the clubs at Fort Bragg. And I hated it. But I did it. Right. I was making a steady paycheck. I bought me a little Honda car when they first came out. And,
put all your drums in the back of the car?
Put all my drums in. Now I have a Mini Cooper with all my drums in.
Oh, wow.
So I must have this weird thing with little things because I'm so big. But I had this big crush on our agent's secretary.
Okay.
So
always a girl.
I had seen the Drifters the night before because our agent booked all the shows that came into town. And so I'm up in their office, and she answers the phone, and she goes, "You need a drummer in an hour to go to Virginia?" I said, "I'll go." I had no idea what it was, nothing. She took some information down, and she hung up the phone and said, "Wow, you just got a gig with the Drifters." Wow. And I was like, "What? I just saw them last night." And so she tells me where to go. I'm only going to tell about half of this story because half of it's just too crazy. So anyway, she tells me where I have to go. And then I realize my drums are in the band leader's van.
Uh-oh.
And he's the guy I hated the most.
Oh, no.
And so I was like,
jailbreak.
Okay, what can I do? And so I called him up and I said, "Carl, I need to put new heads on my drums, so I'm going to come and get my drums before we have to play that night. And so I go to his house, I get all the drums out of the van, put them in my car, and back out of his driveway. And as I'm driving off, I said, "Oh, by the way, Carl, I'm going on the road with the Drifters, and I'll never see you again." And he's just like flipping out. And I'm driving off and seeing him fade away in my rearview mirror. But it wasn't true what I said because we ran into him again at a showcase where I was playing with the Drifters, and he had.
And what was that moment like?
It was actually pretty cool because he thought it was cool that I was with the Drifters.
There you go.
So
there you
it's
go.
a big deal.
But so I go over to the hotel where the Drifters were staying, and their bus had broken down. So Bill Pinkney, who was the bass singer, the original guy, he had I guess it must have been a 1970, 71 Cadillac Eldorado.
Nice. 12 people in that thing.
Yeah, and
They were huge.
The band had rented a truck and a van, so they had all the gear and the guys, and they said, well, first of all, as I'm walking towards them, I can see the look of terror on their faces. Because here's this little 18-year-old white guy with long hair.
What is this?
Light-eyed.
Yeah.
And what's going on, man?
I'm the only white guy in this 9-piece thing.
Otis, my man.
And they're like,
wow.
whoa, this is just not right. So anyway, as soon as I get up to the singers, Bill says, you drive the Cadillac.
Oh.
And I was like, okay. So I'm driving the Cadillac with the 4 singers in the Cadillac. And nobody said a word for like 100 miles.
Wow.
Wow. That's
And I'm
a long
thinking,
time.
oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? I was like totally freaking out. Never played one of their songs, nothing. And then this Bill asked me a question, and they loved my answer, and he pulled out a bottle of Mad Dog and started passing
Here we
it
go.
around. And then I couldn't shut him up.
Oh,
What a
what a
great
great
story.
story.
And
That's a
a
great
lot of
story.
things happened before we ever got on stage. But the one thing I will say, and we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, is I got my drum set up, and one of the things that I really pride myself on was my foot. I really worked on my foot because I played a lot of funk stuff, and it's all about the bottom.
Yeah.
And so I'm setting up and I'm playing all these licks that I thought were really cool and showing off my foot. And one of the singers came over, this guy Chuck, who became my best buddy. And he said, man, you're playing some cool stuff. And I said, thanks, man. He goes, don't do any of it.
Oh, nice.
He says, just play the groove.
Right.
And it, from that moment on in my life, it was all about just the groove.
Just
And
play the
the
groove.
one,
Yeah.
let everybody know where the one is.
Right.
And so that was my start into the Drifters.
What a great story.
And
Tremendous,
I
Sandy.
played with them for about 1.5 years and traveled all over the Southeast.
You were a kid, Sandy.
Oh, I was.
That's
I,
amazing.
I mean, you were.
It was
you know,
on the
went
job
years.
training.
Yeah.
It was on the job
absolutely.
training for sure.
No, you went into the deep end of the pool head first, my man.
Yeah.
Drummer, you need a drummer? Yeah, I'm going. Huh? It's the Drifters.
Yeah. And
Were they good to you?
they were great to me. I had a very eventful 2-week stay in Sumter, South Carolina. That's where Bill was from, although he had a home in Atlanta.
Okay.
But the trumpet player lived, I mean, it was totally the ghetto in Sumter, South Carolina. And here I am, you know. And his
A
sister,
cool white man.
his sister fell in love with me.
How
and,
cute.
And it was an interesting 2-week
Interesting time.
vacation.
It was an education, too.
Yeah, and you know what was cool? We would walk around the neighborhood, and he would take me to his friends' houses.
Yeah.
And everybody, it was at a time where race kind of was crossing the lines.
Yes, yeah.
And like Sly was out.
72.
Right.
Yeah.
73-ish.
No,
not
like
even.
71.
Yeah.
That's right.
And Sly was out, and Hendrix, and all this stuff, and people were listening to all of that.
Right.
And so I would be walking through the neighborhood, and I would hear Sly and War.
Yeah,
you know,
and
and some white groups, Edgar Winter.
Great stuff.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
and it was very, very cool.
Yeah,
so
it really was.
I treasure that time.
Oof.
Lucky you.
That is amazing. Well, we've got one more
Yeah.
caller.
Yeah, we do.
We blew right by the
We are rapidly
15-minute
coming
mark,
to the
but
cl-
I'm going to relinquish my time to Sandy because these stories are too great.
They're too great, but we're coming rapidly to the close of the show. We probably have about 6-7 minutes left. We want to go ahead and take this phone caller as soon as he gets, I guess, checked in and ready to go. Excellent. And you have a couple of Abuelita numbers there, Stevie?
We do. We have a couple emails as well. So.
Okay, so we better
Extra
get to those,
ones or the
and
ones
we'll try to
I
keep
still
this
have?
call a
I
little
got
bit
all of
short,
them,
but
right?
let's see who's on the call. Caller, you're on the air with the Tampa Native Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Big Mike from Orlando.
Hey, Big Mike
Mike.
Padrinin from Orlando. How are you, bud?
All right, man. I know I ain't got much time. And
I know.
Listen, this guy talked to me. But, wow, what a great guest. I mean, Sandy Ficca, drummer,
Big time.
long-time player.
Yep.
Played with the greats. And I just one question. Sandy, when you were playing with the Drifters, was it like already like Izzy Rivera and some of the other guys? 'Cause I know all the original members went off and did their different things later on.
Yeah, there were like 4 or 5 different versions of the Drifters. And I played with Bill Pinkney, who was the original bass singer, who their very first song recorded was White Christmas.
Oh, wow.
In 1952.
Wow.
And
Mercy.
if you saw Home Alone, that's the Drifters with the bass going.
Yeah, great song. Great song. Yeah.
That's who I played with. So there was no Izzy in that band.
How fun.
Yeah. That's when I saw them in '76 when I lived in Seaside Heights.
2 minutes to go?
Right.
Is that serious? Wow,
That's
we got 2 minutes to
amazing.
go. Mike Padrino, we love you. Can we get
We
your brother
do,
number?
we do.
We have it.
I have
We have it.
Well, let's see. I'm 43. Sherry's
And Sherry's
You got it,
23.
Mike.
We got
Yeah.
you, brother. Thank you so much for your call. We appreciate it. Call sooner next time.
sorry you chimed in so late.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
That's
2 minutes to
amazing.
go. What in the world? Let me just say real quick. I got to say something real quick. I want to read this. Single on Mario. I want to read this real quick. Mario, when you get a chance, this is for everybody out there listening. Single on Mario. When everybody out there listening, please pay attention real quick. When you get a chance, go to Music Tampa Bay. MusicTampaBay.com. Music Tampa Bay, and cast a vote for Bus of Broken Dreams. It's a song written by our very own Mike Baluha. He's cracked the top 10. He wants to try to see if he can push this song up to number 1. And we want to elicit our fan base to see if we can get it up there as well, all the way to number 1. So MusicTampaBay.com, vote for Mike Baluha's
Voted
song.
today.
Yep.
Oh my God, 1 minute to go.
Yes,
Why
you
did
better
get so
get at
late
it.
on us, Sandy? We love you, man.
Wow.
Thanks for being here.
No problem. I love
Come
it.
back and do this
Stories.
again.
I will.
Next time
I
you're in
certainly
town,
will.
come
Yeah.
back and do it again. You know what? We'll take a camera. We'll go to your favorite restaurant. We'll have a meal, and we'll shoot the show there.
I seem to remember that was supposed to happen this time.
Come on, brother. Get in there and get
I'll
get you a Bolita ball.
Alyssa Governor, we did
Just
get your
one?
number
Yeah,
as well.
just one.
Okay.
30 seconds to go. And the winner is closest to without going over. 64, darling.
64.
So that's
That would
63.
be Alyssa Governor.
Okay,
Yep.
we got a shirt
There
for
it
you,
is.
Alyssa. You keep winning shirts. And next time we see you, we want you to be wearing this shirt. Wow, 30 seconds
Zip,
to go.
zip, zip.
Sandy, my brother. We love you, man.
Love you
Cups
too.
up,
Let's
do it.
everybody. On behalf of everybody here at the Tampa Native Show, Tampa Steve, the 15-minute girl, and our dear friend Sandy Ficca, I'm Mario Nunez. We love you, Tampa.
Yes, we do.
10,842 times.
There you go.
Thank you, Sandy.
Back when we were younger and everything seemed new, we used to have a lot of fun, yes we did, no matter what we do. Sleepy days, long summer nights, going anywhere we please, with love that I could call my own, love that I've always known, the city that I call my home, a home from which I never roam. This love affair was meant to be. I love her and she loves me. I remember Tampa, oh, she remembers me. She remembers me. I remember, yeah, yes I do. Oh, I remember, yeah, me and you. I'm a Tampa native, Tampa native, can't you see? I will share my story with you to preserve its history.
All right now, don't forget, Thursdays, 7 p.m. on TBCN, home of the Tampa Native Show.